tell you a little bit about me, especially if you're new to this world. And that was like kind of a funky first thing to do. So I'm Kim. I'm Kimberly Rose Pendleton. I live in California, although I lived in Washington, D.C. for years and I miss it. But California is where I grew up. It's where my family is. And my partner, Nick, and I moved here in the pandemic when his restaurant closed. And I'm telling you that because more than anything else I've ever taught, this masterclass involves him. It's not his favorite thing that I do that, but he also knows that it helps. And it helps to see real people with real stories where it's not perfect and it's not even always easy, but it's beautiful and tinged with this incredible magic. So I want to tell you a little bit about us and about what this year so far has been like for us. Not even the year of 2021, although that's also been remarkable, but a year ago to now, because a year ago we did not plan on moving to California. Nick worked at an incredible restaurant. He had been working towards it for a long time. He was working all the time, which we'll get to, and trying to squeeze in his passion on the side, which is art and painting. But he was really so exhausted that wasn't really happening. It was like he had this studio space that he could almost never go to because he was just working and working and working. And then the pandemic hit and the restaurant closed. And then it closed more, and then it closed more, and then it closed for good. And so we packed our bags and we packed our cats and we drove to California. Lindsay, it was Emily's on Capitol Hill. Do you know it? I don't know if you ever went to Himitsu, but that was the restaurant he'd worked at before. And then the Himitsu chef, Kevin Tien, and some of that Himitsu crew opened up Emily's, and it was like right at the beginning of being open, the pandemic hit. So like a lot of new restaurants, it didn't survive. And for us, that ended up actually being kind of an incredible blessing in disguise, which I say with so much gingerness in a way, because I know that this year has been awful for so many, and in no way do I want to minimize that. And we happen to be this lucky little story where it ended up giving him a chance to take a much needed breather that he never would have taken on his own. And we probably wouldn't have moved to California. I can work from anywhere because I do this and go live on the internet. So we decided to really take a chance and to come back home and to explore, and for him to really go all in on painting, because I didn't really want him to work in a restaurant during the pandemic. And we were so lucky that my business made that even possible. So many people didn't even have a choice. And so we went on this epic road trip. It was so fun and so beautiful. We arrived here and we have been unknowingly in relationship boot camp over this whole year. And it's so interesting because I already knew that this was an incredible guy, that this was an incredible love, that we had already been through so much. If you've been following me for a little while, you may have heard the story of our miscarriage. You may have heard some of the ways that we met, some of the ways that I processed a sexual assault, and Nick helped so much, and he was really available for all of these kind of deep, hard, even grieving moments. And so I knew, like, this is an amazing person. We've already kind of been through the ringer in some ways, but now we're in this even sweeter spot that has even more depth to it, which I wouldn't even have believed, and even more sweetness and joy and spaciousness. And it's also had moments that have been hard as we adjust to new routines and new patterns, and some of his identity is a little bit like up in the air, and a lot of things that I know a lot of couples go through. And so I started to think about this relationship. I started to think about all my other relationships. I started to think about the fact that relationships really were first and foremost like my education ground for all the personal development work I've ever done. And I realized I never teach about it. There's one module in Uncover, the self-study, module 6, that's about relationships and communication, and I get so much feedback about it every time people buy that self-study program and go through it. I've never taught about relationships. I get close. I'll talk about self-love and sexiness, and sometimes we'll write a post about dating and having fun. But when I look at the roster of things I've taught, of master classes, of live programs in the incubator, it's never been one of the things I've shared, even though this is the thing I know the best.